Let's talk about the Huntress archetype based on Carl Jung and Dr. Jean Shinoda Bolen's work in The Goddesses in Every Woman. So, the Huntress archetype is going to be ruled by Artemis, the goddess of the moon and goddess of the hunt in Greek mythology. We see Artemis typically depicted with the moon in the background, indicating her intuition and her connection to nature. We see her with a bow and arrow to indicate her agility and ability to focus on the task at hand and her ability to protect those around her. Artemis is a goddess that spent her days protecting her sisters, and so she's very involved in the sisterhood, which falls really in line with the archetype of the huntress, because the huntress is typically a woman who is going to protect other women. She usually has a cause, or she's usually the one that you see fighting for like women's empowerment. She's the ultimate feminist, and in three words, I would say she is focused, she is integral, and she is independent. This is a woman who has high values and high standards for herself, and she has very strong boundaries to protect her standards. She is the friend that's going to hold herself accountable, and she's going to hold you accountable as well. Her light energy, she is someone that is able to be disciplined but not too rigid. And her light expression, she's able to be protective but not too aggressive, and she's able to be independent but not avoidant. And that's important because in the shadow expression, the opposite of that, right? She can be so independent that she's almost avoidant. She can have a hard time getting in touch with her emotions. The light expression of this archetype is the best example of balancing your masculine and feminine energy, because a lot of the traits we see of Artemis and of the Huntress archetype are a little bit masculine leaning, to the point where we could kind of classify this as like, maybe tomboy, or just a little bit more like androgynous kind of acting or presenting. But that's not always the case, right? There are lots of beautiful feminine women who are huntresses. Examples of this are going to be Katniss Everdeen. She's still beautiful. She's still feminine, but she's able to have that agility, that focus, and that drive. And she's very protective. She stands for a cause. She literally volunteers herself as tribute in place of her sister. She's a perfect example of Artemis. Other examples of the Artemis, characters like Maxine from Living Single. She is a woman who dominates in law, which is a masculine terrain, and she does it well, and she does it beautifully. And she's a very sensual woman, in fact, but she does not let any man tell her what to do. Erykah Badu is a great example of a huntress woman as well, and she is quite seductive. A lot of people would mistake her for a mystic, but she's very much a huntress. And also, I would say Cher. Cher is a huntress woman as well. She is very independent, and she's famous for saying, "Mom, I am a rich man." Like, she is famous for saying that line, and that's very much the case. So the huntress woman in a relationship requires lots and lots of independence. And my advice to this archetype would be honest with your partner. Be honest up front about the fact that you need to have your own identity in the relationship and outside of the relationship. You need to have your own life, your own friend groups. And that way you don't feel smothered, because the issue that many huntress women can face, if they're around men for too long, or if they're around anybody for too long, to the point where they feel like they're being imposed upon, they can become resentful and push that person away or make them feel unwelcome. So it's important to know yourself if you are this archetype, and understand going into any commitment, any job, any relationship, any friendship, knowing that you need that independence and that freedom to kind of come and go. But you are also a great partner. You are a great person to have in any circle, because this archetype is very, very protective of those around them. They're the person that's going to be like the ride or die. They're going to show up for everyone else, no matter what. And so another trait I would say about the huntress woman, they're the ones that have the least tolerance for like boy talk. They're not the ones that want to sit on the phone for hours talking about your boy problems. They're gonna be the ones to be like, "Oh, come on, like, are we still talking about this guy?" That's the huntress friend. So I think this is a beautiful, beautiful archetype. Very high values, very trustworthy, very dependent, protective. Oh, Serena Williams as well is another Artemis woman, or huntress woman as well. And she heard that in later years, after she's become a legend and built her legacy, now she's able to settle down and partner with her husband and become a mother. So it just shows that you can absolutely have it all as a huntress woman, but you are going to be so driven. If you're a huntress, you're going to be so driven by your independence and your goals and your beliefs, that you're not going to settle for anyone pulling you away from those goals or countering those goals at hand. Either way, it's a beautiful archetype, and if you have this archetype, consider yourself extremely blessed. It's absolutely beautiful, especially in today's world where boundaries are more important than ever. So let me know who your favorite huntress is down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.